is hurt. But boy, Dejanay Carrington, what a show she has. And it's really hard when you have a young team trying to learn and you're on the road. It's hard in the W.
The press conference room fell into an almost reverent silence as Michael Jordan approached the microphone. The same steely determination in his jaw that had carried him through clutch moments in championship finals now directed towards a different kind of game. One of justice and character rather than points and rebounds. And when he spoke, his voice cut through the tension like a blade, demanding that anyone ready to judge Caitlin Clark hear what he had witnessed when no one else was watching. A moment to whisper to his assistant that she reminded him of himself, and rather than creating chaos by announcing his presence, he remained in the shadows, watching her character as closely as her skill, witnessing during a crucial scrimmage how she prioritized her teammates' success over individual statistics, delivering 11 assists in a 10-minute span to rally her team from a 15-point deficit to a narrow victory, crediting others in the post-game interview and refusing personal acclaim, and afterwards staying behind to help maintenance staff, sweeping floors, folding chairs, and engaging with young fans with warmth and patience that left lasting memories. While later phone calls to those who knew her revealed a pattern of generosity and integrity, from volunteering at food banks to organizing basketball clinics for underprivileged children, delivering groceries to elderly neighbors during the pandemic, and funding equipment when donations fell short. All acts carried out quietly, consistently, and without expectation of recognition, demonstrating a form of greatness grounded not in headlines but in everyday compassion. And yet, despite these remarkable qualities, her college career continued to face scrutiny, with sports analysts questioning her decisions on the court and social media critics attacking her personality, unaware that what they judged most harshly was also the source of her true strength, a resilience and character so profound that it compelled Michael Jordan himself to stand in defense of her integrity, recognizing that the most important victories are not always visible on the scoreboard, and that Caitlin Clark's story, observed in those unguarded moments, was one of extraordinary human depth, teaching a lesson that greatness is as much about the character you cultivate and the lives you touch quietly as it is about the points you score publicly. The press conference room fell into a tense, almost reverent silence as Michael Jordan approached the microphone, his jaw set with the same steely determination that had carried him through the most clutch moments of his basketball career. Yet this time the arena was not a court and the stakes were not championships, but justice and recognition of character. And when he spoke, his voice cut through the murmurs and flashing cameras with a precision that demanded attention, challenging anyone ready to judge Caitlin Clark to consider what he had seen when no one else was watching, a revelation that would not only alter public perception but redefine the meaning of leadership and integrity in sport, because Jordan's words were more than praise, they were testimony. He recounted the spring afternoon in an old gymnasium in Des Moines, where college athletes from across the Midwest had gathered for an invite-only skills camp. Elite coaches perched on the bleachers with notebooks in hand, evaluating potential stars, and in the back corner, almost imperceptible beneath a low baseball cap and dark sunglasses, Jordan observed quietly, noting not just the mechanics of the game, but the subtler elements that separate great athletes from merely talented ones. Composure, empathy, consistency, and the intangible drive that manifests in the small, unnoticed actions that reveal true character. It was there he noticed Caitlin Clark moving differently from the other players, her shooting stroke flawless, yes, but more striking was her attention to her teammates, helping a struggling player correct her footwork, handing water to those who forgot theirs, demonstrating a selflessness rarely seen in highly competitive environments. And Jordan recognized immediately that this was the same relentless pursuit of excellence and integrity that had defined his own career, the same refusal to let criticism dictate performance. Beyond the gym, Clark carried burdens few college athletes should bear. Her father had lost his job, the family was struggling financially, and she was balancing part-time work at a local diner, maintaining her academic grades, all while navigating a college career under intense scrutiny. Critics calling her shot selection reckless, her confidence arrogant, and her style too flashy for women's basketball, yet she responded to every challenge not with frustration or anger, but with quiet determination and focus, the kind that quietly reshapes the environment around her and inspires those who notice. During a scrimmage where her team fell behind by 15 points and many of her teammates had given up, Clark did not push for personal glory. Instead, she orchestrated the game, delivering 11 assists in 10 minutes, lifting her team to a narrow victory while refusing individual credit. A display of leadership that Jordan recognized as the same kind of selfless drive that powered his championship teams. After the game, she stayed behind to help the maintenance staff, sweeping floors, folding chairs, picking up discarded items, and spending time with young fans, signing basketballs and taking photos with the same patience and attention she gave her teammates, creating lasting memories for people who had no idea the extent of her talent or commitment. A generosity that Jordan understood intimately, having experienced firsthand the invisible work and sacrifice that underpin greatness. Later, through phone calls to people who knew her personally, teachers, coaches, and community members, Jordan discovered the depth of her character extended far beyond the court. Volunteering at food banks, organizing clinics for underprivileged children, delivering groceries to elderly residents during the pandemic, often using her own money to ensure that resources were available when donations ran short, all done quietly, consistently, and without expectation of recognition, acts that revealed the true measure of her character. And yet, despite these extraordinary qualities, Clark's college career remained under the microscope, her decisions scrutinized, her confidence criticized, her personality judged, a harsh reminder of how talent is often overshadowed by perception and how society struggles to recognize quiet leadership. Jordan, however, saw the whole picture. The discipline, resilience, empathy, and humility that formed the foundation of Clark's greatness. His defense of her character was not merely an endorsement of skill, but an affirmation that integrity and selflessness, often hidden in the shadows of achievement, are the truest markers of excellence, and that Caitlin Clark, through every unseen effort and every measured gesture of leadership, embodied a form of greatness that demanded recognition, teaching the world that true champions are not measured solely by points or accolades, but by the lives they touch, the consistency of their.
And that was their only win against the Aces this season.
Well, the other thing that Dallas did was get on the offensive glass.
Yeah. Justison comes back and hits the three.
The press conference room grew utterly silent as Michael Jordan approached the microphone. The same steely determination etched across his face that had defined his most iconic moments on the basketball court, a look every reporter recognized instantly. Yet this wasn't about championships or titles. It was about justice, integrity, and the defense of character. "You want to judge Caitlin Clark?" he began, his voice cutting through the tension with precision, the same commanding authority he had wielded in the clutch moments of finals past. "Let me tell you what I've seen when nobody else was watching." The statement hung in the air, heavy with anticipation, before Jordan proceeded to recount what he had observed over 3 years at various camps, games, and scrimmages. While other athletes pursued personal glory, Clark's attention was always to the team, quietly assisting struggling teammates, offering her own equipment to those in need, and consistently putting others before herself, even amid the pressures of college basketball, part-time work, and academic demands. Jordan described her leadership during a scrimmage where her team was down by 15 points, not by forcing shots for personal stats, but by orchestrating 11 assists in the final 10 minutes, lifting her team to victory while crediting her teammates rather than herself. He spoke of her volunteer work at food banks, her organization of basketball clinics for underprivileged children, and her quiet acts of generosity that often went unnoticed by the wider public, revealing a depth of character far beyond the scrutiny of media critics who branded her selfish and arrogant. When a live television debate questioned whether Clark's individual success harmed women's basketball, Jordan's intervention was unprecedented. He called in to defend her, not for her stats or her highlight reels, but for the integrity, empathy, and consistency she displayed both on and off the court. Social media erupted. Analysts, former critics, and fans witnessed a side of Clark they had never recognized, while Clark herself, alerted by her mother, watched in disbelief as the athlete she had idolized vouched for her humanity and perseverance. Jordan's defense extended beyond vindication. It became mentorship. He partnered with the Caitlin Clark Foundation to expand initiatives providing education, sports opportunities, and nutritional support for underprivileged youth, mentoring her not only in basketball but in the responsible use of public influence, emphasizing that leadership and compassion are as vital as talent and statistics. The ripple effect transformed perceptions in women's basketball. Coaches began valuing character alongside skill. Parents taught their children that integrity matters as much as success. And young athletes learned that authentic leadership is demonstrated through quiet, consistent acts of support, service, and generosity. Jordan's intervention proved that true greatness lies not merely in personal accolades but in recognizing, defending, and elevating the integrity of others. And by speaking up for Caitlin Clark, he reminded the world that character, often hidden from the limelight, ultimately defines legacy, that compassion outweighs criticism, and that courage is sometimes measured by the willingness to amplify truth when it is most needed. From that moment forward, Clark